Why talk about not breathing? I'm sure that when the autopsy report is revealed, that they killed Madeline either by strangling her or suffocating her or covering her mouth and her nose to pass her out and then doing something else to her. In other words, when she thinks about Madeline, she thinks about breathing, probably because she's recalling something about restricting Madeline's airway. Months ago, I predicted Madeline Soto's cause of death using Jennifer's words. That's the clip I just played. Jennifer could only have leaked that information if she knew how Madeline died at the time of the interview. But many argue that she didn't know and that her boyfriend Stephan Sterns tricked her into believing that Madeline had genuinely been kidnapped. I personally don't buy it, and in this video I'll show you more reasons why. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel exposes lies and manipulation. Today we'll analyze another interview Jenn did before Madeline's body was recovered for more signs that she already knew Madeline was dead. Quickly, before we get into that, we've hit an incredible milestone on the channel, 100,000 subscribers. This journey from starting my channel to leaving YouTube to coming back has been amazing, and I am grateful to each and every one of you for subscribing and watching my videos. I actually chose to mark this milestone with this particular case because of something I said in the first part of this series. I want them to be afraid, and I wish my channel were larger so that Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns would have been too scared to do this because they knew someone like me or one of the members or subscribers of my channel would be onto them. Maybe the next Jenn Soto or Stephan Sterns will stop and think twice because they know all of us are watching.
Jenn, go ahead and tell us what's going on with Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school. She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point. It was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes and then got up and walked towards the school. But she never made it that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
I've already pointed out all the signs of deception in this story in other videos in this series, so I won't go over all of them again here. Instead, for this video, let's assume that Jenn believed this was a true story because Stephan Sterns fooled her. Could we still determine if she had guilty knowledge? Yes, and the first sign is that she told this story at all. When innocent parents of missing children get a chance to go on the news, their priority is to get help finding their kid. So in response to the interviewer's question, "What's going on with Maddie?" they'd say she's been missing for a week and ask for help finding her. Or they might express concern about what she's going through so that the public actually cares enough to help. How did Jenn respond? She spent a minute reciting a scripted alibi story, which is an unusual priority whether she believed the story was true or not. Let's keep listening because it gets a lot worse.
She never made it that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
And that was the last anyone's seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school, and she wasn't there. So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well. Drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
Have you heard from like any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media, none of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. Um, yeah, there's no update.
That awkward silence you heard was not a glitch. After Jenn said there's been no update, she simply stopped talking. And if you've seen my video, What Do Innocent Parents Look Like?, you'll know just how unusual and revealing that is. That's because actual parents of missing children are very talkative. In fact, they often steamroll their interviewers because they want to accomplish so many things in the limited time they have on the air. And I'll go over what those are the next time I pause. For now, just note Jenn's lack of urgency. She's taking time to pause, and she's only answering the questions she's asked. She doesn't seem to have any agenda of her own besides establishing her alibi at this point. In other words, she sounds more like a mischievous student who's been sent to the principal's office, or a neglectful parent who's sitting down for a meeting with CPS than someone who's trying to solicit help from the public. In my opinion, the reason for this is very simple. She knows she doesn't need the public's help because she knows Madeline is beyond helping.
We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. Yeah, there's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's not the type to want to do this. She did accidentally leave her phone on Monday, which is kind of normal for her. She's got ADHD and very forgetful. So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
Jen, what is your fear? I know you mentioned she's on games and stuff. Do you think she could have like met somebody and tried to meet up with them?
From She's open to us. She's open with us about, if she's got a crush with anyone, and she told us she had a crush on someone at school. And I looked at their messages, nothing was weird. I looked at all of her messages, all of her deleted messages. Nothing seemed weird. It didn't seem like she was talking to anyone. So I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like she may have been taken, because this is not like her at all to just disappear and not tell us, not let us know where she's going or who she's with. Yeah.
What are you getting from law enforcement? Are they actively searching for her? I mean, what happens now? I mean, especially that she doesn't have her phone with her.
So as far as I know, they're conducting a search around the school. Behind the school, there's a Shingle Creek. There's a wooded path area that you could walk. It's a hiking path. They are going back there with their canine dogs. They've taken a piece of her clothing to see if they can trace her scent. They're also taking their own vehicles. I'm not sure what type of vehicles, but they're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help, because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
Jenn just said she's desperate and a wreck, and I believe her. She also said she's calling news stations to get the word out, and I believe that too. But what word is she getting out exactly? As I said before, innocent parents of missing children try to communicate a lot of things when they have the opportunity to get on the news. And I've written about some of them over in the DD forum. I call it my missing child presser interview checklist because these are the things that parents of missing children naturally do without any prompting or prep work. For example, they speak about their child in the present tense. And that's because deep down, it is hard for a parent to accept that their child might be dead. They don't think rationally in terms of statistics. Second, we can expect them, if they get on the news or get an interview, to be cooperative. In other words, they answer the questions they're asked, unlike what Jenn did here. When the interviewer asked her that first question, tell us what's going on with Maddie, Jenn didn't answer that question. She didn't say Maddie's been missing for a week. She went into her scripted narrative that we've seen her go into every single time she's been interviewed, whether it was in my video, Does She Have Guilty Knowledge, or in my video, How to Think Like a Cop. Third, actual parents of missing children are inconclusive. In other words, they can't say for sure whether or not their kid didn't talk to their friends or didn't meet anyone online or left their phone at home by accident because they simply don't know. All they know is their kid is missing. But we see Jenn violate this rule all the time. She can confidently say that Madeline has not spoken to her friends or that she left her cell phone at home by accident. How did she know that Madeline didn't leave it there on purpose because she wanted to run away? Fourth, parents of missing children address any potential kidnappers through the camera. And that's because they don't know what happened to their kid. Kidnapping is still a possibility, and they don't know if that kidnapper is watching the news. They also address the child through the camera for the same reason. They don't know if the kid's watching. So you'll typically see them say something like, Madeline, if you're watching, mommy and daddy are looking for you. Hang tight. If you're out there and you can get to a phone, call 911. Bear in mind, none of these things are necessarily rational things to do. They're just things that parents do because they're desperate for any potential lead. Sixth, we can expect actual parents of missing children to ask for help. It's typically the first thing they do in the interview because it's their entire reason for going on TV. When a parent doesn't ask for help, we have to wonder, why are they doing the interview? Are they actually trying to find their kid? Or is this some sort of image management game they're doing? And finally, we can expect them to do some sort of call to action, like hold up a picture of their kid and say, if you see Madeline, call 911. So far in this interview, Jenn hasn't done any of these things. Her priority is herself. I'm a wreck. I'm desperate, as well as her alibi. The word she's getting out is more akin to other suspicious parents we've analyzed on the channel, like the Wells, the McCanns, and the Ramseys, rather than innocent ones like Landon Bullard or Seth Rogers. And I'll link a video about one of them at the end of this video so you can watch it next and spot the difference for yourself because it's very stark.
They're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
So you think that she's been taken against her will?
I do think so, yes.
As a mom, what's your mother's intuition telling you right now?
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back. Whatever that means, I just want her back.
Let's listen to that last part again.
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed.
I don't want her to come back harmed. That's very different than saying, I don't want her to be harmed, or I want her back and I hope she's not harmed. When Jenn said, I don't want her to come back harmed, I think she actually meant that. And I think it slipped out because she was more focused on crying than her word selection. Because right after she said that, then she said, I just want her to come back home. I think she caught herself. And paying attention to little things like that illustrates the power of leakage. If you don't know what leakage is, I'll read you the card from the Deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation, and it is now available in the App Store and Google Play Store. Liars can unintentionally reveal the truth through their choice of words, as it's challenging to suppress real memories while telling falsehoods. If someone repeatedly uses an unusual phrase or word, it might be a clue worth investigating. As I always say when it comes to leakage, one instance of it is not enough, but it can compel us to search further. And I'm pointing out this potential instance of leakage because the last time I highlighted leakage from Jenn, it was confirmed in the autopsy report. And maybe this time it will be confirmed by her getting arrested and convicted for being, at the very least, an accessory after the fact.
I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed. I just want her back. Whatever that means. I just want her back.
Are you getting any updates from law enforcement? I mean, yes, they're searching that small area, but have they gotten any hits on any scent or anything like that?
They haven't let me know anything. They haven't updated me since I spoke to them this morning. I've contacted them to get some information or to give them some leads, but I've heard nothing back.
And Jen, there's no way that she, just being, a teenager, was like, maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm going to go hang out at so and so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks or arguments or anything like that. If anything, on Sunday, she celebrated her 13th birthday with my entire family and she had the best day. She was so happy. She showed us all her gifts. She's just a happy girl and she showed it on Sunday night when she went to bed. She was so happy. So, she had the best day. I just, there was no moment in that evening from when she got home from the party that she had her phone or had the laptop. She went straight to getting ready and went to bed. So I know she didn't have any conversations with anyone. She didn't make plans with anyone. I didn't see any of that.
Because she's spent the whole Sunday celebrating her 13th birthday. Was her 13th birthday on that Sunday, or that was just like the time you guys were celebrating?
That was the time we were celebrating. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 22nd.
Okay,
She just turned 13.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's
gone.
the last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you gonna go out there and search or look, or what is your?
When people think of murderous women, they often picture someone like Amanda Knox or Nicole Kessinger, a manipulative, calculating femme fatale. The reality is, most violent criminals are low IQ, low impulse control, and low self awareness. For the record, I don't think Nicole or Amanda are necessarily murderers, although I do think they could both be brought up on charges that they weren't, and that's a whole other rabbit hole if you want to watch those series. In this case, Jenn has virtually no self awareness. She's repeatedly shown such a disinterest in the search for Madeline that even the interviewer has to ask her, "Are you actually going to go search for your daughter?" And if you've been paying attention throughout the interview, you can follow all these breadcrumbs of disinterest, like when she dismissed the photos that people were sending her from the trail, or how she referred to the police who were trying to track the laptop as they are tracking, rather than we are tracking, which is what most parents of a missing child would say, because they would see themselves as if they were in partnership with the police trying to find their kid. Plus other small details, like the fact that she said she emailed the school rather than frantically calling them, or that she went to the office she thought Madeline might have walked to rather than picking up the phone and calling to check if she's there. So, what could explain Jenn's total disinterest in the search for Madeline? The answer might once again be found in leakage. She's leaking a lack of curiosity about where Madeline could be. And the reason for that might just be as simple as, if you know where something is, you don't go look for it. And if you don't want it to be found, you don't help the people who are looking. Either way, whether she was relying on a fake story told to her by Stephan, or if she was involved in the murder and cover up herself, her words suggest that at the time of this interview, she did not consider Madeline lost. And the most damning example of this is coming up next, so listen closely.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's the last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
mean, where do you go now? Are you gonna go out there and search or look, or what is your? Are you sticking by the phone? Are you, what are you doing?
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears. Um, I know my entire family is out looking. They've all spread a bunch of flyers. I've had people contact me that they've gone to the international airport to spread flyers, to Amtrak, to Greyhound, just any way that if someone's taken her and they're trying to take her, just to show her face, just to make sure, she's not being taken against her will.
And you mentioned ADHD. Was there anything else maybe mentally on, or that you knew of?
She does suffer from anxiety, and once upon a time she was diagnosed with autism. We had her what's the word?
Brained, maybe?
Reevaluated.
Okay.
We had her reevaluated a few months ago, actually, and they told us no, she didn't have autism, but she did have some autistic traits. She did have ADHD, some autistic traits, but not autism. So I'm not sure where to leave with that, because one doctor said she did and one doctor saying she doesn't, and I don't know. She's just in the middle, I guess. Because she does have some tendencies, but socially she's pretty great. So I'm not sure.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boyfriend dropped her off, where was that? Which video? Was that a surveillance camera?
It was a surveillance camera from the church, Peace Church, right next to Hunters Creek Middle School.
And do you have that video?
I don't have that. They didn't show me. They wouldn't show me. It was actually my sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
When you know where your daughter is, you don't look for her. When you know your daughter is dead, you don't seek help. When you know the search site is wrong, you don't expect results. When you know your daughter wasn't kidnapped, you don't go flyering at the airport. And when you know your daughter wasn't recorded by a security camera, you don't watch the tape. All of these are poker chips on my bet that Jenn Soto knew her daughter was dead at the time of this interview and every other interview she's done, including the body cam interview I've analyzed. When I press play, the interviewer is going to prompt Jenn to say all the things she should have been saying throughout this entire interview. And in my opinion, it's too little, too late. No matter what excuse Jenn eventually gives for providing false information to the police, the leakage we've seen in this video and all the others in the series suggests to me at least that she knew where Madeline was the entire time and that she knew Madeline was dead.
My sister was the one at location, and they were letting her know what they saw on camera.
Okay.
But they didn't show it to any of us.
Got it. Okay. Jenn, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Please, 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 if you have any information, contact me, contact law enforcement. Any information helps. Maddie, if you see this, please come home. Please be safe. I love you very much. If you have my Maddie, please just let her come home. We just want her home.
Compare Jenn to an innocent parent by watching the video on your screen now. If you want to continue this series, let's get this video to 50,000 views. You can also become a channel member and vote on who we analyze next. Until next time, stay true.